I believe it is recording. Good. All right. So let me just share screen here. And we will get started. All right. Thank you guys so much for getting on this evening. Sorry about the delay. I was literally, I hope there's no highway patrol officers on here because I was exceeding the speed limit to get here. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, thank you guys for getting on tonight. And I'm very excited about what we have to share with you. And hopefully you guys will be equally excited. We're going to be talking about a company called Lifevantage, and their flagship product is Protandim. We'll talk about their other products as well, but I'll probably spend the majority of the time talking about our flagship product that has 23 peer-reviewed published studies. And this company is really spearheading a technology called biohacking, but perhaps a more descriptive term is nutrigenomics. And what that means is we can take nutritional supplements or nutritional components and use those to affect the expression of genes. So we can turn on or turn off the expression of genes based on the things that we put into our body. And that's essentially what nutrigenomics is. And so that process is biohacking, trying to have a positive outcome on the expression of genes. So it used to be that we thought that, you know, if you had the genetic predisposition, say to have coronary artery disease or some type of cancer, colon cancer, whatever, you were destined to have that. But we've come to learn over the last 10 to 15 years that there are things that you can do proactively that can help turn off those bad genes and turn on the good genes. And that's exactly what this company Lifevantage is involved with. But the story really goes back to 2005. That's when it all began. When Protandim was available for sale on online sales and in health food stores, GNC, Rite Aid, and so forth. And then ABC News came and did a story about Protandim, and that's really kind of what launched it and kind of got the information out there for people to become excited about it. What I want to do is to start by showing you that ABC News investigative report that aired back in 2005. And following that, there'll just be a brief synopsis of our products, and then I'm going to go into a lot more detail about them. So let's go ahead and start that ABC News investigative report here, and then I will take over as soon as that's done.
The following is an ABC primetime investigative report that aired in 2005.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life. It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment, a kind of guinea pig.
Dr. McCord, okay.
I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver to meet Dr. Joe McCord, a world-renowned scientist.
This is pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test.
Can we scoop? Yeah, there we go.
It wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company.
They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
Bad for the body,
Leading to disease.
leading to disease and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals. Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. The result? Oxidative stress, and we all have it. The body fights back with a system of defenses. It makes two antioxidant enzymes, catalase and SOD, whose job is to gobble up the free radicals before they can harm our cells. But as we get older, some of those toxic radicals overwhelm our enzymes and wreak their havoc. For a long time, scientists thought that antioxidant vitamins like C and E would lower it, but they don't.
As it's turned out in just the last 5 years or so, we see that they're not good enough tools. They're not powerful enough.
But this pill, he says, is powerful enough. In fact, many times more powerful.
So, doctor, how often do I take these?
And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment.
Doesn't taste bad.
It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us. Whether that will lead to longer life is still unknown. Experiments to see if mice live longer are about to get underway, but it's a tantalizing theory.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it is something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes.
Have you discovered the fountain of youth?
I wouldn't put it that way, but we may have discovered something that will tell us a lot more about how we age, what happens biochemically, and maybe how we can slow it down. And so you can see the age-related.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. But in Dr. McCord's tests, taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old.
They all are reduced to the level of oxidative stress that one would expect, frankly, in a newborn or a very young child.
Back to the oxidative stress levels of a child? It sounds too good to be true. Will Protandim work on me? But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. Dr. McCord calculates the numbers. The result? My level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
45%, that's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Have we turned back the clock? Well, maybe not on the outside, but deep inside within my cells. Yes, indeed.
Would you suggest I keep taking this supplement?
I would.
And so, ancient Eastern healing and modern Western medicine may soon be working together. High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma. I've studied all of these: strokes, heart attacks.
Even mental disease?
Yes.
Depression?
Alzheimer's disease, depression. But we do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
The company that makes Protandim says its tests show the pill, made from ingredients used for centuries, is absolutely safe. But because it's being sold as a nutritional supplement and not a drug, Protandim does not need FDA approval for safety.
Protandim NRF2 is protected by 7 U.S. patents. Major universities and government agencies initiated and continue self-funded studies following the ABC Primetime Investigative Report you just viewed that originally aired back in 2005. These studies continue to reveal more scientific evidence about Protandim NRF2's unique benefits and to evaluate how this anti-aging breakthrough can prevent and improve many of the problems associated with aging. The next video will bring you up to date on what happened next.
So the vitality stack starts with the basic foundation, Nerve 1, Nerve 2 ProBio, to which we added the new product Omega Plus.
Nerve 1 is helping specifically specifically our mitochondrial function. It's helping the number of mitochondria that we need, so it helps the energy state, and it's also helping as far as what the blueprint is being followed, what genes are being expressed. Unfortunately, mitochondria, they produce free radicals, and oxidative stress is actually increased the more powerful they are and the more in use they are. So we need to take protandim Nerf2 alongside with it to decrease that free radicals, to decrease that oxidative stress that's happening. And that's why we also call it a 1-2 punch, because not only are we helping our mitochondria function normally, but we need to clean up the debris that happens with a good functioning mitochondria.
The probiotic that we have, it's going to improve the health of the gut, which is where 80% of your immune system starts.
So to have the company create a probio that has Wellmune in it, that helps to calm that immune response, and in a timely fashion where it actually gets throughout the whole intestinal tract to address the immune system.
The omega-3s are an essential component of our cell membranes, and omega-3 deficiency makes that cell membrane not function very well. We need those omega-3s to keep our cell membranes, our nervous system, our brain healthy. The other thing, vitamin D, is something that is just essential from all aspects. It improves immune systems. I think when you combine all of these products together, you've got the home run.
We're going to continue to be at the forefront of nutrigenomics, coming up with scientific products that are proven to get a better benefit than you could possibly get by just taking those ingredients alone and then applying that to the biohacking outcomes of our customers today.
So that second video highlights the, hold on one second while I get back to my slides here. And get back to share screen. There we go. So that second video really highlights the newer products that have been added since Protandim Nerf2, which was our flagship product that started the company. And as you heard, that aired back in 2005 on ABC. And at that time, the company was a small biotech company that just had a handful of people working there. And when ABC came in to do their story, they got sales that went through the roof. Overnight, they had sales for $5 million worth of product. But the problem was, because they were such a small company, they weren't able to manufacture and distribute that much product that quickly. So most of the orders went unfilled. It's publicly traded. The stock was trading around $1 a share at that time. And after the ABC News investigative report aired, the stock shot up to over $20 a share the next day. And then over the next several months, when they didn't fill the orders, the stock plummeted down to 7 cents a share, and they almost went out of business. Well, at that point, they realized that they had a problem. They were great scientists. They could create a great product, but they didn't know how to get the product out there to market. So they hired a marketing consultant who came in. He looked at everything and went back to the company with the recommendation to move this out of retail and online sales and into direct sales. So that switch was made in 2009. And their last year in retail and online sales, they sold $3 million worth of product. So fast forward 5 years. So in 2014, they went over 200 million a year in sales. So that was a huge, huge deal for them to switch over to direct sales. That was really the marketing model that they needed, because this is a product that has a story that needs to be told. And they were putting the product on the shelf next to vitamin E and vitamin C in the antioxidant section. And Protandim isn't an antioxidant, and I'll talk more about what it is here in a moment. But when you have a bottle sitting on a store shelf that people don't recognize by name, and they looked at the price and it was $49.95 for a 30-day supply, that, you know, most people aren't going to buy that. They want to know what they're getting. And the clerks in the store were not able to tell that story. So moving this into direct sales was the ideal marketing model to get the story out, to get the message out about what Protandim is and how it works. So that's kind of how we got from where we were then to where we are today. So let's talk a little bit about what Protandim Nerf2 actually does. It reduces this thing called oxidative stress. And for those of you that have medical backgrounds or you science geeks, you will probably understand what oxidative stress is. And I certainly did with regard to its role in the development and the progression of cardiovascular disease, and also in the development and progression of many, many other diseases. What oxidative stress is damage that's done to our cells by these things called free radicals. Free radicals are toxic molecules that are created in the process of making energy. In that doctor's video at the end of the ABC News investigative report, they talked about how the mitochondria are responsible for making energy, but they also make free radicals that lead to increased oxidative stress. So your mitochondria make energy in the form of ATP, and one of the byproducts of that is these free radicals, which are these toxic molecules that will damage any part of the cell that they bump into. Now, when we're young, our bodies do a very effective job at fighting these free radicals because we have a built-in antioxidant defense system. Our own cells make enzymes like superoxide dismutase and catalase and glutathione and hundreds of others that will neutralize the free radicals before they can cause any damage. The problem is, after about the age of 20, our bodies start to produce progressively less and less of these protective enzymes. So the result is the free radicals do more damage, which then leads to the aging process, and then all of the diseases associated with aging. So if you look over on the right-hand part of this slide, you can see that every organ system is affected by oxidative stress, and you can see some of the ailments that are caused by oxidative stress based on the organ system affected. So for example, in the heart, hypertension or high blood pressure, myocardial infarction, which is heart attack, congestive heart failure. In the skin, aging, sunburn, psoriasis, melanoma, chronic kidney disease, every type of arthritis you can imagine, asthma, COPD, allergies, lung cancer. The brain is very susceptible to oxidative stress, causing things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, ADHD, migraine, cancer. My father died of a brain tumor. Chronic inflammatory conditions like lupus, inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, in the blood vessels, atherosclerosis and endothelial dysfunction, type 2 diabetes, we mentioned chronic fatigue syndrome, macular and retinal degeneration and cataracts. All of these things, all of these ailments that you've heard people get as they get older are linked back directly to oxidative stress. So in standard Western medicine, you get sick, you have a problem, you have an ailment, you have a disease, you go to a doctor, they write you a prescription for a drug to treat the end result of that disease. In functional or integrative medicine, which is something that I'm a proponent of, you try to get to the root cause of the problem. And what if you could get to the root cause of not just one problem, but literally the problems? As the doctor on that video mentioned, you know, over 200 diseases are linked directly back to oxidative stress. What if we could get back to the root cause of the problem? And so that's what we're trying to do by reducing that oxidative stress. And Protandim is the only product on the market that's been clinically proven in a human trial to reduce oxidative stress an average of 40% in 30 days. Now, the aging process itself leads to increased oxidative stress, as I mentioned, because of our decreased ability to fight the free radicals because we make fewer and fewer of those protective enzymes. In addition to that, we live in a very toxic environment, and a lot of the things that we're exposed to on a daily basis also increase free radical production and oxidative stress. Things like pesticides and things that we spray on our crops and so forth, breathing gasoline fumes, lead acid batteries, pollution from factories, excessive exercise, water pollution, microwaves, EMFs from cell phones and so forth. All of these things increase free radical production and oxidative stress. So historically, you know, what we've tried to do is reduce oxidative stress through a good diet. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Protandim has actually been studied now by major universities and other organizations. And we, as I mentioned, we have 23 peer-reviewed scientific studies on our flagship product, NERF2. But the one study that more than anything that caught my attention was a study that was published in the journal Circulation, which is the scientific journal of the American Heart Association. So when I saw that, that was all the validation that I needed to recognize that this was the real deal. This was something that I needed to pay attention to. Now, in the process of developing protandim, they discovered that the way that protandim works is through this NRF2 pathway. And I'll talk about the importance of that in a moment, but we now have pharmaceutical companies that are developing drugs based off of this same technology. So GlaxoSmithKline, Abbott Biogenetic, all either have drugs or are studying drugs that activate this NRF2 pathway as well. So historically, what we've tried to do, as I mentioned, is eat a good diet, rich in fruits and vegetables, which are high in antioxidants. And those type of antioxidants are what we call direct antioxidants, meaning that one antioxidant molecule, say vitamin E, vitamin C, beta carotene, will neutralize one free radical, and then the process is over. Okay, that's the old way. The paradigm shift in our thinking came with the discovery of NRF2 back in the mid-90s. And what we recognized is NRF2 is a protein that when activated, when something hits the cell that activates NRF2, NRF2 acts as a messenger. It goes into the nucleus of the cell where it turns on genes, okay? It turns up the production of antioxidant proteins, things like catalase and superoxide dismutase and glutathione and hundreds of others. So it increases the production of the good stuff, the stuff that fights the free radicals, and it decreases the production of the bad stuff, the stuff that increases inflammation and fibrosis. And so that's the big benefit of NRF2 activation is you get this drastic increase in the protective stuff and a drastic reduction in the harmful stuff. And so it's not apples and apples. You can't compare standard antioxidants to what NRF2 activation does. Because when you activate NRF2, those enzymes that are created are significantly more potent at neutralizing the free radicals. So one molecule of superoxide dismutase, for example, can neutralize up to 1 million free radical molecules. So we're not even in the same ballpark as we are with standard antioxidants. So as a preventive cardiologist, every time I would get a new scientific journal that would come out, I would scour it to see if there were any studies on antioxidants because I was convinced that antioxidant therapy was going to help prevent heart disease. Turns out that that's not the case. And the problem is, I think they were studying the wrong things. They were studying vitamin E, vitamin C, beta carotene, but they were not studying NRF2 activation. Now, had they been studying NRF2 activation, I really wonder if they would have found different outcomes. I believe they would have. So this NRF2 thing, as I mentioned, was discovered in the mid-90s. There have been probably about 7,000 or 10,000 articles or studies now on NRF2. And this one that I show you here is an article that came out a little over 2 years ago now. It's a great review article that talks about all of the different diseases that have been studied with regard to NRF2, what happens when you activate NRF2. And pretty much every disease that they looked at had an improvement in things when you activated NRF2. And they went through every organ system and a whole bunch of different diseases. And it's a great read for anybody with a medical or scientific background. So I would encourage you to get this and take a look at it. But this is one of their concluding statements. And they said that NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. It does not get much more profound than that. Oregon State University also did studies on longevity, and basically what they found is that the animals that had the highest levels of NRF2 lived the longest and they stayed the healthiest the longest. And so they dubbed it the longevity assurance factor. Now, how is it that protandim works? We talked about how it activates this NRF2 pathway. And so if you look at the individual ingredients, ashwagandha, bacopa, green tea, milk thistle, and turmeric, none of them do very much by themselves. So sometimes when I talk to people and they tell me, well, I'm already taking green tea, I'm already taking milk thistle or turmeric or whatever, I say, well, that's great, but really what's important is the synergistic action of these 5 ingredients together. So if you look on the right-hand side of this slide, you can see that the 5 ingredients together in protandim, when working together, had an 18-fold increase in the expression of these antioxidant genes. So it was 18 times more effective than the sum of its parts. That's a big deal. And that's the reason why we have 7 US patents, so we don't have to worry about anybody coming up with a generic version of this in the future. So that's where the power of protandim comes in, is the synergistic action of the 5 ingredients. And that's why to date, there has not been proven to be a more potent activator of the NRF2 pathway than Protandim, and that includes drugs that are NRF2 activators. You can go and research and find the drugs that are available. There's only 2 that are FDA approved that are NRF2 activators. One is called Tecfidera and the other is called Radicava. Tecfidera is for MS, $50,000 a year. Radicava is for ALS, $150,000 a year. They both activate NRF2. Protandim is a supplement, though it's not a drug, so therefore we're not allowed to say that we cure, treat, or prevent any disease, but we do activate that NRF2 pathway. So you can look at the comparative studies for yourself and see what you think, but I think that you'll be quite impressed with how Protandim fared when compared head to head. So what we've been talking about to this point is Protandim NRF2, the flagship product, the one that was talked about in the ABC News investigative report. And we have, as I said, 23 published peer-reviewed scientific studies on this product. And that's what really caught my attention. You know, I see a lot of products that people say are great for this, that, and the other. But when I go look them up on the website pubmed.gov, which is the National Institutes of Health website for medical research, 99% of the time there's nothing there. So I was pleasantly surprised when I took a look at Protandim 7 years ago, and back then there were 7 published studies. Now we have 23. It doesn't get any better than that for a supplement, especially a branded supplement sold through a network marketing company. It just blew me away. My jaw hit the floor when I saw that. I couldn't believe that they had this amount of science behind the product. Now, the most recent study that came out on Protandim NRF2 was done by the National Institutes of Health and a division of the National Institutes of Health called the National Institute on Aging. And in that particular study, they looked at different supplements to see if there were any supplements out there that could actually extend lifespan. This was an animal study because you cannot do longevity studies in humans. If you think about that for a moment, you'll understand why. There'll be nobody around to report the results after everybody dies when they're 100 years old, right? And who wants to wait that long anyway? So these were animal studies, but Protandim was the only supplement that was found to extend lifespan. So that should make the hair on the back of your neck stand up, if nothing else, because who doesn't want to live longer? I've actually talked to a couple of people who told me that they didn't, and I told them, well, you shouldn't take Protandim then. But I was doing a presentation in Portsmouth, New Hampshire last weekend, and one of the people there was a former pharmaceutical rep for a major drug company. You guys would recognize the name if I said it. And I asked him, I said, say the company that you used to work for would come up with a drug that extended lifespan. What would they do with that? And he said they would be shouting it from the rooftops. The drug reps would be in talking to all the physicians about it, and they'd have TV ads for it and so forth. And I said, that's kind of what I thought. I said, how much do you think that drug would cost? And he said, probably $15,000 a year. I said, that's interesting. We have an all-natural supplement, the only supplement in the world that has been proven to extend lifespan, and we're $40 a month. So, you know, it doesn't get much better than that, guys. This is a big, big deal. And I just don't know why more people haven't caught on to this yet. But that just shows you how early we are in the development and what a great opportunity that gives us to spread this to other people. So one of the other products that the company developed is called Protandim NRF1. So we talked about NRF2, what that does. It increases the production of the antioxidant enzymes, which lowers oxidative stress. NRF1, as they mentioned in the doctor's video, increases the number and improves the function of the mitochondria, which are the powerhouses in the cells. So the analogy that I like to use is an engine. Think of the mitochondria in the cells as little engines. And if you've got an old classic car that hasn't been tuned up, the engine may not run well. It may sputter. It may spew more exhaust. It may not be as efficient as it should be. And that's what happens to the mitochondria. And in fact, one of the tenets of anti-aging medicine is to improve the function of the mitochondria. And this company figured out a way to do that through this NRF1 pathway. So NRF1 is a messenger protein like NRF2, but it does something distinctly different. It improves the function of the mitochondria, and it increases their numbers. So since the mitochondria are responsible for 98% of the energy that our bodies use, if your mitochondria aren't working well, as they tend to not work well when you get older, This is a way to improve that and improve your energy and improve the function of all parts of your body. So if you look at the right-hand side of the slide here, you can see some of the diseases that are associated with poorly functioning mitochondria. Now, you don't have to have any of those diseases to have poorly functioning mitochondria. And in fact, perhaps the only symptom that you have related to your poorly functioning mitochondria is tiredness or fatigue. So one of the things that people frequently notice when they start taking this is an increase in energy. That doesn't happen right away because it takes a month or longer to improve the function of the mitochondria. But a lot of times in that second or third month is when they really see it kick in and they see their energy levels increase. The person that's my personal trainer, she uses this for workouts and so forth, and she uses it to improve her training for the marathons that she runs in. And she said she used the Nerf1 product training for the last marathon, and she had fewer injuries, faster recovery, and a marked improvement in her performance in the marathon. So this is something for athletes. It's something for the average Joe as well. And if you're, over the age of, say, 35, you're probably starting to develop some of the mitochondrial dysfunction. So kicking that in gear with the Nerf1 product is a great way to improve things. Now, the probiotic is something that I think everybody should be taking. It's in our weight management system called Physique, but I think that the probiotic is essential for everybody, not just people who are trying to lose weight. Probiotics can help a variety of different things, but one of the problems very frequent in society today is leaky gut. And leaky gut causes all sorts of problems, as you can see on the right-hand part of the slide here. And having a good probiotic can help improve that and help heal that leaky gut, that ailing gut. And so one of the unique factors with our probiotic is this thing called biotract, which is a little cellulose encasement of the organism so they can make it through the stomach and get to the intestines where they're supposed to go. Because most probiotics, 95% of the organisms are killed in the stomach by the stomach acid. With our probiotics, 60% of the organisms actually make it to the intestine where they're supposed to go. So that greatly increases the effectiveness and the efficacy of our probiotic. The other thing that our probiotic has is something called Wellmune, which is an immune enhancer, and it's been clinically proven to reduce the incidence of the common cold and flu and so forth. It's a great thing to be taking, especially during cold and flu season like we're in right now. One of the other products, one of the more recent products that was added to the armamentarium is Omega Plus. This is a blend of omega-3 fatty acids, omega-7 fatty acids, and vitamin D. Now the cool thing about our omega is you can actually track back to the boat where the fish were caught based on the number on your bottle. It's so fresh, and you can cut these things open. It doesn't smell like fish. You don't burp fish. I've taken really high quality fish oil in the past. Even really good stuff, I burp fish. This stuff I do not, and I take 8 of these a day. If you want to know why I take 8 of these a day, you can ask me sometime and I'll tell you. That's not the recommended dose, but I'm doing it for a very, very specific reason. Now, the other thing that's really cool about our Omega Plus is it contains omega-7s. Why is that important? If you go and read about omega-7s and see what they do, they help with a variety of things from weight management, metabolic syndrome, glucose metabolism, and so forth. It's really incredible that we chose to add the omega-7s to this, because this is something that I've not seen in any fish oils before, the addition of the omega-7s, which is very, very beneficial from a variety of metabolic conditions. True Science's our anti-aging skin regimen. This was developed after 2 of the earliest studies on Protandim showed a significant benefit in healing and regeneration of the skin. Those studies were from Louisiana State University. They were on melanoma skin cancer. And so the company developed a Nerf2 activating skincare line that contains the same ingredients that are in Protandim. And you can see this is a typical example of what somebody could expect after using this for 2 months. It causes healing and regeneration of the skin. We've got the pathological studies that actually shows how the cells line up better. They become less vacuolated compared to the unhealthy aging cells and so forth. This is a great product. Everybody who has started using this continues to use it. And I've had people tell me that I look 10 years younger than what my picture is on my driver's license. And so that kind of makes me feel good because that picture was taken 10 years ago. So if you are concerned at all about your skin, this is absolutely something that you should add to your daily regimen. One of the other products that the company makes is called Axio, which is kind of a Nerve2 activation for the brain, but in addition to that, it increases memory, concentration, it improves thinking skills, attention, and so forth. This is a great pre-workout beverage as well. It can enhance your physical performance as you're working out and so forth. But you can see over on the right, this is a 9-year-old boy who was having some issues with attention and so forth, and some other learning issues. And you can see before Protandim and Axio, and then 2 weeks after. Just look at the improvement in the penmanship. And this is just one of the many things that people have seen when they started using Axio. We also have a weight management system that I briefly mentioned called Physique that includes the probiotic, which I talked about. Also includes a protein shake, a cleanse, and a fat burn. And the fat burn is really a neat product because it actually helps to reduce the absorption of certain things that can increase fat. And it burns that visceral fat, that abdominal fat. And the protein shake can be used as either a meal replacement or as a snack. The cleanse is something people will typically use like the first week of a month. And it really is a good, gentle detoxification type cleanse that has really helped people a lot. Protandim is basically Protandim for dogs. People were giving their dogs Protandim, seeing remarkable results, doing videos of their dogs before and after, and seeing significant improvement in a short period of time, typically 2 weeks. Dogs have higher levels of oxidative stress than humans. They age faster than humans, but they get a lot of the same ailments that humans do as they get older. And so Protandim has actually been studied in dogs, and it was remarkable because even though the researchers were blinded as to which dogs were actually getting the Protandim versus the placebo, they could see such an improvement during this study that the researchers could tell even though they were blinded as to which product they were getting. And the one thing about dogs is they never lie and they don't know what a placebo effect is. So it's not been uncommon that we've had people who will give this to their dogs and then later get on the Protandim for human product for themselves. So let's briefly talk about the business part of this. And I want to start by talking about the development of products, the development of technologies, and so forth. So this is called the S-curve. And this was something that was developed quite a number of years ago, but it basically shows what happens with a new technology, a new product, a new company. In the early stages, you have the innovators, people like the Dr. McCords who get the technology out there. Then you have the early adopters, and that would be people, for example, who are on this webinar tonight, learning about this before the masses. And then you see that dot there, that's called critical mass. That's where everybody starts to hear about it. Everybody wants to get on board. And then the company goes through a rapid growth phase called momentum, and then they kind of go into stabilization. So every technology goes through this, and the example that I like to use is the iPhone. The iPhone 1, 2, and 3 were the innovators, the early adopters, and then the iPhone 4 was when critical mass hit, and that's when everybody who wanted an iPhone tended to get one. And now we're in the iPhone 8 and 10, and so they're out into stabilization. But with Lifevantage, we have not hit that critical mass yet. When we do, there's going to be rapid growth in the company. And there's a number of things that could launch us into that. More studies, another news story on a major network or something like that. But when that hits, this thing is going to take off. Nerve2 is a big, big deal. And we have the most potent product that activates Nerve2 that's ever been studied. So it's just a matter of time before people start to find out more and more about what this is. So how does a person get started? If all you want to do is take the products, you can just become a customer and order the products and take them. And fully 80% of our business is preferred customers. And that's great because they love the products, they order the products on a monthly basis, and they keep using them because they get good results. What I tell people is typically what happens is you get on these products, you see results, you start sharing it with other people, and then they want to get on the products. So if you're a preferred customer and you do that, then they go buy the product from somebody else. If you're a distributor and the people that you talk to decide to get involved, then you get a thank you check from the company. So how does a person become a distributor? You have to buy a business pack, which is $50, and then you have to place a product order of at least $200. So that's the cheapest way to get in. But the best way to get in is to purchase one of these packs. And you can see the platinum, gold, and silver, which gives you significantly more product than what you're paying for. So it's a lot better deal from a value standpoint. And we have 3 different price points to get in. Now with the platinum pack, you get some of all of the products. With the gold pack, you get most of the products. And the silver pack, you just get a few of the products. If you're serious about doing the business, the platinum pack is really the way to go, because that gives you, the breadth of the entire product line that we have, so that you can become familiar with that and versed in it as you're talking to potential customers and so forth. So, think about that. People that you know are going to want to take these products, and if you talk to them and they get involved with somebody else, that somebody else is the one that's going to make the commission. But if you're the one that they sign up with because you're a distributor, you're the one that's going to get those thank you checks. Now, with our products, there are ways that you can get free shipping. And these are the 3 kits that you can get that will give you free shipping. You can get the True Science Regimen, the Vitality Stack, or the Vitality Stack that's the travel size. So any of these will give you free shipping, and anything else that you add to your order with any of these stacks, you will have shipped to you free. The Vitality Stack is really the place to start. It's the baseline for good health. You've got NRF2 and NRF1, so reducing the oxidative stress, improving the mitochondrial function, the omega-3 fish oil with the omega-7s, we talked about the importance of that for metabolic functions, and the probiotic. I think those 4 products together are the basis for good, sound health. And then it's a matter of if you want to add the skin regimen to that, okay? Now the travel ones come in these convenient daily use little cellulose envelopes that you tear open. So they're great for travel. You just throw those in your suitcase instead of all the bottles, and you've got your daily doses to go with. So as you can see, you pay a little bit for convenience. So instead of $149, you pay $151. But most people will pay that extra $2 a month just for the convenience on that. So, I take all of the products on a daily basis except Pet Tandem. I take that once or twice a year just to refresh my memory as to what it tastes like. But I do take all of the other products on a daily basis, including the Axio. And I probably have 4 to 5 Axio a day. It's great stuff, and I just can't even imagine being without it at this point. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close things up here, and I would just encourage you to get back to the person that invited you on this webinar tonight, and they can help get your questions answered. If you have any product questions, questions about the company or the industry of network marketing, they can help you decide whether you just want to be a customer or if you're thinking about perhaps being a distributor, and move you in the direction so that you can get enrolled, whatever's the most comfortable way for you. So thank you guys so much for your attention on this webinar this evening. We will certainly do more of these, and just contact the person that invited you on this and let them know where you're at, and they can help you with the next steps. So thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.